Well, am I running this meeting today or not? Not Jessica? That's me?
I'm sure. I'm not sure if he's going to be here or not.
Well, let's go ahead and get it started. She jumps in, she can jump in, all right? Anybody have any problems with that? Hey, Laura.
Hey, Dick.
That sounds fine to me.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I just been notified that I'm running this meeting this morning, and I have to leave here at 10 o'clock. So if somebody's prepared to take over, if it's meeting still going at 10 o'clock, I'd greatly appreciate it. So can I get a call to order? And do we have 6 members here? Does anybody know? We do have 6 members.
Yes, I believe you're good there.
Okay, good. So let's start out by introducing yourself. I just ask is if you don't have anything to say, please mute your microphone so we're not listening on any side conversations you're at work. And I found out if your microphone is muted in Zoom and you tap and hold your space bar, it'll temporarily unmute it so you can talk that way. So it's a lot easier doing it that way. So good morning. My name's Dick Hyde. I'm the Community Intersections. And let's have somebody else introduce themselves.
Joe Vaccaro, citizen at large.
John Carroll, special kids.
Miley. Miley Gray, Drive Smart, Colorado.
Kristen Amundsen, Discover Goodwill.
Diana Van Auken, Teller Senior Coalition.
Jason DeBona, Silver Key.
Phil Van Horn, Invita.
Jacob Madsen, Mountain Metro Transit.
Has everybody introduced themselves, or are we missing anybody?
Laura Cruz, PPACG.
Elaine Hausman, Fountain Valley Senior Center.
Is that it? Let's go ahead and have a call to order. And can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Joe Vaccaro, so moved.
Any seconds?
Miley Gray, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think it passed. So move passed. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month? I'll take silence as yes. I'll take silence as yes. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So, Miley Gray moves to approve the minutes from last month.
Any second? John, was that you seconding? Second?
Joe Vaccaro, second.
All right, I think we got all in favor. Raise your hand, aye, or say aye if you're not on there.
Aye.
Aye.
I think that we got enough to pass there. Is that okay, Jessica? Going to item number 4, we have no new appointments to make. I think we had 2 last month, right? Somebody last month? No, we don't have any public on here, do we? Doesn't look like we had any presentations. And the next thing we got is, hey, Laura, it's down to you. What do you want to talk about?
Actually,
there is a presentation.
we do. We
We have in or
Yep. That would be me. Ready when you
Yes.
are.
Invita is
Phil.
presenting
Invita.
211. Hold on a second. Sorry, Phil. On the agenda that was linked, it says that also 211 will be presenting. They will actually be presenting next month. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Okay, but we do have somebody presenting today in Vita. I apologize.
Phil, did you want to just share your screen or?
Yeah, I think that'd be easier if I could.
Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to give you the permission to do that right now. There you go.
Okay. Sorry. It's always a challenge to get your computer to cooperate. Okay. Can you see it? Am I sharing the wrong screen? Yes. Okay. How about that?
Looks good.
I can see it if this is the screen you want to show us.
Yes, that's my first slide. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, so my name is Phil Van Horn. I'm the transit manager at Invita. I've been with Invita now over a year, about a year and a quarter. And it's been a really fun year. But yeah, our official name is Disability Services, Inc., doing business as Invita, also formerly known as Amblicab. Lots of monikers you could attach to us. Way back in the day, we were also known as Pikes Peak Partnership. So we've been around for quite a while, since 1971, actually, and doing assisted transportation that whole time. So, and what we really focus on is above and beyond services for people either not served or underserved by Mountain Metro Transit's Paratransit system. Today, we've evolved, and our focus is, our new mission is to promote access and support independent living with dignity. And part of that was adding home care as a service to our organization. So we have a home care side of our organization as well as transit. And we try to bring those together as best we can to create a service that helps people live independently in the community. And we're funded by a variety of sources. The bigger one is the Area Agency on Aging. So thank you very much, guys. We're so appreciative of all your support. But we also receive funding through Mountain Metro and Medicaid, non-emergent medical transportation, as well as a whole bunch of other things I'll get into a little bit later. But we've been around in the community for a long time. Specialized transit remains the core of who we are. We operate 15 revenue vehicles across the Pikes Peak region, and right now I have 12 full-time drivers. So I know a lot of these in the past have been, you know, here's everything about my fleet and my drivers and all that, but we've got a bunch of crazy stuff going on. I just wanted to take a few minutes to share some of that with you guys this time. So that graph there, I thought it's fun to look at. You can't really see the scale, but you can see in a snapshot what COVID did to all of us. Right there, that huge dip on the right. It goes from the beginning of 2018 through very recently. So before I get into the other exciting stuff going on this year, I just want to mention that COVID has been a huge challenge, and we have met it head on. It's been really challenging. At the beginning of the year, in January and February, we're actually on track to deliver almost 30,000 rides in 2020, which would have been a huge increase over last year. But now we're on track to do about 19,000. So, I mean, we're recovering relatively well, but it's been a pretty big hit in terms of operations. Well, what does that look like for us? There's one of my drivers doing some disinfecting. And by the way, before all this happened, I was like, vinyl seats, what's up with that? Those are super uncomfortable. And now I'm like, oh my God, give me more vinyl seats. These are awesome because they're easy to disinfect. So, you know, who would have thought? Anyway, a couple things we've done in response to COVID, we launched what we called our Safe to Ride campaign, which was a coordinated operational and marketing effort. We put some logos on our vehicles that say Safe to Ride, trying to tell our customers, you're safe here, and we're doing everything we can to keep you safe. We're disinfecting our vehicles. We've installed antimicrobial film on all of the high touch surfaces. We're making sure there's distance between everybody in our vehicles, which is all we can do, right? And you don't have to be afraid to get out and enjoy life. And that's what we focused on with that campaign. And it was pretty successful in getting people to come back and ride our vehicles pretty quick after the shutdown. And I kind of went over that. The other thing we did to adapt to the new environment was expand our hours of service. So for years and years and years, we've been running 7 a.m. to 5 or 4:30 p.m. last pickup, and now we're going 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that was really important. Wasn't necessarily popular, but because nobody wants to wake up at 4 in the morning to go to work. But it was important to serve people going to dialysis primarily early in the morning, and have the capability of taking people to early appointments. And we just found that we were in a position where we just couldn't really afford to say no to rides for a while. And that was part of it, just trying to be there where we were needed and not necessarily where we had been before. And that's a great segue into, just as an organization, we took the time to ask the question, where can we be most helpful in this situation? A lot of providers decided to pivot toward delivering meals and that sort of thing, which is really important. But I think in our community, that service was met, that market was saturated, and that just wasn't us. So we went a little bit different direction with a couple of different things. One of which is our partnership with the Homeless Isolation Shelter, which has been fascinating. So for those of you that don't know, the isolation shelter is here in town out of the city auditorium, and they provide a place for homeless people who are symptomatic to isolate from the rest of the population, where a normal person would go home and stay home. Obviously, a homeless person doesn't have that opportunity. So that's the idea behind that. And we were asked to participate. Hey, can you transport people in this endeavor? And we said, sure, why not? What that looks like operationally is an on-demand service. So they call me, and anytime between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m., and I have a driver on call that can go over there and take people either from any of the entry points, mostly Springs Rescue Mission or Salvation Army or the hospitals, to the shelter. So that was a really cool learning experience, but it also kind of opened a couple of doors for us to learn a little bit about what does it look like to actually do something on demand. There's administrative systems that have to be built for that. There's technical systems that have to be built to make that happen. And I think we kind of accidentally built those just to meet this need with the isolation shelter, which is going to be really interesting going forward. And that brings me to this next section, which I'm calling Pioneering Accessible On-Demand Transit. And there's a lot that goes into this. The homeless isolation shelter was maybe the first practical step toward that, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes as well. Part of it is our focus on behavioral health, which has been top of mind for us for about a year, pretty much since I've been here. And that started with one grant from NCMM, the National Center for Mobility Management, actually a series of grants. First, the Ready to Launch, and then the, I can't remember the name. Limited launch, there we go, of a service that we partnered with, mostly Aspen Point, to integrate our existing technology with them to help their staff coordinate transportation for riders directly. So what that looks like is we have trained case managers at Aspen Point to book rides directly with us through our facility portal on behalf of their clients. And that has worked really well. And we've gotten a lot of rides from that. And we've built a really close relationship with Aspen Point and been able to understand more of what their needs are in meeting the behavioral health needs of our community. And it's been more recent because we've been struggling with getting it work from a technical perspective, but we have a mobile app called Amble that is part of that as well, where our riders can book rides for themselves. So the idea with that is to be more empowering to riders who can coordinate their own care, to give them the option rather than calling us to book their own rides. And that opened other doors for us too. Recently, we just asked Aspen Point, hey, this is going real well. What else do you guys need in terms of transportation that you're not currently finding? And they said, yeah, every week we've got to take some people to and from this really remote place down near Los Animas called Rosada, and we can't find anyone to do it for us. So we said, okay, well, let's figure it out. So we started doing it a couple weeks ago, and we take riders we ferry them from Aspen Point to Rosada and back on a weekly basis. And that's a huge need that they had, that they've struggled for years to meet, that we were happy to be able to figure out for them. I don't want to dwell on this crazy matrix of numbers, but I just want to put this up here to demonstrate, as an organization, we've built this pot of 4 grants, the ICAM grant, the NCMM I was mentioning, one from Colorado Springs Health Foundation, one from CCHA, which is the regional accountable entity for our Medicaid region. And all of this comes together to fund this idea that we have to create a system of on-demand transportation that helps the community meet an unmet need, specifically with behavioral health. So that's what the engine behind all of this looks like. And more specifically, sorry, that was a duplicated one. One of them is ICAM, which is an FTA grant that we got about a year ago, which was focused on creating on-demand transit in Keller County for behavioral health. So we are on the cusp of actually delivering services here with this, finally. We're about to hire a driver. We have a vehicle ready. The technology is almost ready to deploy. So in October, we're going to be on the ground in Keller County, ready to figure out what this looks like. And it's crazy, to be honest with you. I mean, from an operational perspective, how do you do something on demand in a rural environment with trips that are an hour, hour and a half long, with another hour, hour and a half of deadhead on the other side? And I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. So, and that's what this grant is for, innovating and coordinating with providers in the region to make sure that that works appropriately. And I'm just going to put this back up here because we learned so much partnering with the isolation shelter that it were just kind of something that dropped out of the blue. And I'm happy to have experienced it because it's going to inform our experience later and allow us to deliver a better service. So the next part of this whole idea is enhancing regional coordination. And here's a cool picture we took a while back. That's Gail, my boss, Jason, and Jolene. I think they're all in here. In front of our vehicles, just demonstrating a close partnership that our agencies have and trying to serve the community better. And that has taken a few practical forms. But let me get through a couple other things first. Easy thing to forget is for about 2 years now, yeah, almost exactly 2 years, we've been running a route out to Calhan, a deviated fixed route. We run it three times a day, 4 days a week between Calhan and the north side of the Springs. And it's been really successful. And we launched a second route beginning of last year down Highway 94, the southern highway in El Paso County, which connects Rush to the southern part of Colorado Springs, and that's been growing really well too. So that was maybe our first step toward a regional transportation idea, is meeting that need, unmet need in eastern El Paso County, but that wasn't the last step we would take. We have, here's our schedules. I like this slide. If anybody needs schedules for our routes, I'm happy to send those to you or email you the electronic versions. Like I said, the one on the left there is for the Highway 94 route. It starts in Ellicott and ends in Rush, and the other one starts in Callahan and goes up to the Voyager Transit Hub. We also partnered with a volunteer program in Monuments called Mountain Community Senior Services. They came to us and said, hey, this volunteer program is getting a little bit overwhelming. What can you do to help? And there's one of the volunteers there with a rider on the left. And starting December of last year, we started coordinating the rides for them. So we manage the volunteers and the credentials and the scheduling. And when we can't find a volunteer for a ride, we will send one of our vehicles up there to do the ride if we can. So it's great to be able to support Monument, and we're able to provide accessible transit up there where there wasn't really any before, wheelchair-wise, or if someone needs a lift. So that's another component to our regional vision to increase coordination and help. There we have a picture again, and there's Victoria, who I'm sad to say is no longer here with us in Colorado Springs, but we took a trip out to Seattle a while back to see an on-demand deployment there at Hope Lake. And so, you know, that's just kind of emblematic of Silver Key and Envita and Fountain Valley partnering. And in May of 2020, we actually, all three of us, consolidated our scheduling databases into one system. So we're all working out of the same book. We have the same visibility on trips and customers and schedules and vehicles and drivers as everybody else, which gives us all a better opportunity to see what each other's doing and exchange trips if we're not able to meet the needs of the customer. And very recently, I'm very happy to say we were able to negotiate an exemption from the regional NEMT brokerage in Telluride. And we were able to do that specifically because of the behavioral health projects that we were already undertaking, which were all focused on on-demand, short notice trips. And if you know anything about Telluride, that's not their thing. They just won't do it. So that's what we're trying to do. So we were able to get permission to try, and that's really exciting. So we're actually able to continue delivering NEMT directly through at least 2021. And we think and hope that it also gives us an opportunity to demonstrate the success in a more regional model, because the statewide brokerage model is a little bit monolithic, difficult to access for both riders and providers. I think we looked into signing their provider agreement, and it was scary, to be honest with you. There's so many pieces of it that don't sound fun to be a part of when your intent is to take care of the customer. And yeah, so I'm just excited that we were positioned prior to this, because of what we were already doing, to be able to continue what we're doing and hopefully demonstrate some success and efficacy with the idea behind it, which is to put the customer first and to take care of their needs before the needs of Medicaid or the needs of my organization. And finally, we were reading through the NEMT statutes, because that's what all people do in their spare time, right? And we noticed, hey, there's a provision in here for friends and family to transport people in their own vehicles and get reimbursed from Medicaid for those trips. And we've been trying to figure out for a year or more, how do we do transit in Park County and rural Teller County? It's just so far away. It would be so unbelievably expensive to try and send a bus up there to run people around. And it kind of dawned on us, hey, this is the way to start. This is so low impact relative to anything else. We can just put a form together, get some basic information about the ride, and then help people facilitate the reimbursement process with Medicaid. So we're going to be, we have the forms posted already. We haven't really done any advertising yet, but we're excited to get that started as a first step toward just having something available to people in Park County who just don't have access to anything. So yes, and the last piece of this I'm going to talk about is our multi-modal opportunity funds. We actually got 2 separate awards, which is awesome. One from Central Front Range to supplement our rural routes in eastern El Paso County for operating dollars. And we were granted one very generously by PPACG to build a whole slew of things to enhance everything I just finished talking about, including an upgraded phone system, because ours is a little bit lackluster, increased cybersecurity to give a better experience to our customers. There's a couple of route match enhancements, a module for reporting specifically, and maybe just some licensing expansions and some additional vehicles to support service expansion in rural areas of the county. So we're very excited to get those. We're just about to get those turned on so we can start building some of those things. Thank God Ted Schweitzer is helping us out with that, navigating, because CDOT, it's new to them too. And, you know, whenever anything's new, it takes a while to figure out how to make it work. So yeah, that was a lot. I feel like I've been rambling forever, but if there's any questions, happy to answer them. And there's my contact info if you just want to email me or call me later.
Hey, Phil, this is Miley Gray. I saw Gail on the news this morning talk about the whole behavioral health component of Envita. I thought it was pretty funny. They said, and there's a brand new program in Colorado Springs called Envita. And I was like, is this a different Envita than the one that I know about? So anyway, that was kind of funny. But yeah. Anyway, she did a good job, and I was really excited to hear about it, and then hearing more about it today. But what is Rosada?
It's a detox facility, a regional detox facility down in, well, it's not in Los Animas, it's near Los Animas. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay. Well, good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Hey, Phil, do you mind sending out those schedules? You can send them to me and I'll send them out to everybody else.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful.
For the rural routes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It's we also have it's posted on Google Transit, the GTFS data, for what it's worth. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Phil, that was great. Thank you very much. I learned a lot on that one. That's gone.
You're welcome. Happy to share.
I think I'm up next. If we want to move on, I just have a few things I want to share with the group, and it's going. My kind of report is going to be a little bit different each time based upon the information that I'm learning about, as well as opportunities that I just want to pass on to you guys. One of the things that I wanted to report on was the CASTA conference. If you are not familiar with CASTA, but CASTA is an organization here in Colorado who serves as sort of a educational organization as well as an advocacy organization for transit agencies here in Colorado. And so CASTA puts on a conference in the spring and in the fall that part of the conference is really geared towards things that doesn't necessarily fit this group, more of the fixed route types of situations, a lot of the services that maybe you are familiar with that MMT provides for our area. But there are several sessions that are great that are focused on specialized transit. And Gail presented at one of those sessions along with Route Match and the representative from VIA up in Boulder, and just talking about how they're utilizing systems in order to coordinate better with other organizations in their area. And so I am going to pass along that information about the next conference when it comes up. I think it'd be very worth your while to be able to attend that conference. I originally didn't think that a lot of things would be applicable to me, but then I learned a whole lot from just regional contacts in this area, and they brought in some great people from out of this area as well to speak on different topics that were applicable to what we do. So CASTA, you can also become a member of CASTA. I know that many of you guys may attend meetings about the NEMT program that Phil was mentioning for Medicaid rides. There's also a Cmac committee. That Cmac committee meets on a regular basis, and that is just a bunch of mobility coordinators across the region talking about how they're coordinating in their communities and talking about issues that they're dealing with in terms of COVID, what the response is across the state. CDOT is also there to kind of give their report to that group, which has been really interesting. And one of the things that I think is helpful as you plug yourself into these groups is you get more of a sense of the opportunities and funding opportunities for you guys to tap into to support your programs. So that's super important. One of the things that I do want to bring up that CDOT has put out specifically for those that serve on this committee in the rural regions and receive 5311 funds through CDOT, they have put out a NOFA, a Notice of Funding Availability, through funding that has been secured from essentially a court settlement. And that funding is available for capital purchases for rural agencies that are providing transit services. So I'm going to send out after this meeting that Notice of Funding Availability. The proposals are due by October 12th, so it's a quick turnaround. But these are the things that if you're involved in those types of committees, you get to learn about pretty quickly as they come along. So I will pass those to you guys, but I will also encourage you guys to be a part of those committees moving forward. The other thing is this week we have the M4a Conference going on. That is the national conference for AAAs. And there is a session that is free for everyone if y'all are interested in joining. I'll send a link out to you guys. It's about social isolation, and I think that would be something that's applicable to this group because transportation gets people out of social isolation. So I will send that out, and I think that would be a good resource. I think it's an hour session, so it won't take a lot of your time up, and it's just a good thing. I'm attending that conference this week, learning a lot of great things about the 5310 funds, things that I didn't know in terms of implementation. So it's been very helpful to plug those resources into my own work moving forward. And the last thing I just want to give you guys a heads up on, we are still moving along in the process of securing the 5310 designated recipient status. And so we have sent our letter off to the governor. I think I reported on that before. And then just past month, the board approved for us to move forward in presenting our program management plan to all of the committees as well as the public for public input. And so that plan will be available to you guys. A draft of that will be available to you October 1st. So I will send that draft out to you guys on October 1st. I'm going to be looking for, any kind of input that you may have in the implementation piece of what we've stated we want to do with the funds and how we're going to administer it. And if there's anything that you feel in that plan needs to be tweaked or adjusted, this is the time to let us know that. So October 1st is the kickoff of the 30-day period for public comment on that. While that's occurring, FTA will also be doing the review process of that program management plan. And so we will be making tweaks along the way. Our goal is for that program management plan to be approved by the end of November so that we can really hit the ground running, get that program management plan approved in the December board meeting. And by January 1st, try to have ourselves positioned to start our grant process with FTA. So all good stuff, a lot going on, a lot of deadlines for PPACG to meet. We're still working out some details. With MMT, we had a great meeting with them last week, so Jacob was on that call. So I just wanted to give you guys an update as to where we were with that. Any questions for me? I'm going to be sending some resources to y'all. I really want you guys to look at them. I think they would be helpful, specifically things that I pass along to y'all regarding funding opportunities. I'm keeping my, hand on the pulse of that. And I know that y'all's development groups are also looking at those things. But if I have something come across my desk that I think is applicable, I'm sending it out. So just know that is a part of what I'm trying to do to help support you guys.
This is Jolene. For any of the members that want to see that 5310 plan before October 1st, it was included in the public information for the last PPACG board meeting. So you can always request the board packet from PPACG, and that way you can start reviewing it prior to October 1. It has been made public already.
And that's a good thing, Jolene, to mention. I will caution those that though, because you'll see throughout the plan, there's a few things that are under construction. And those were things that we are still working on putting together. So if you want to see a more complete plan, that would be coming out October 1st. Dick, are you still on the line?
It looks
I
like
guess he's not on, so I'll go ahead and continue to chair the meeting. I was having some issues with some technical difficulties logging on. So I'll go ahead and go around the room if anybody else has information sharing, and I'll just call on each of you individually to make it easier via the Zoom process. So we'll go in order of who's on my screen. Miley?
Unmuted.
There you go.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So the only thing that I have to say, I think the last time I don't even remember, I reminded y'all that I was retiring December 1st. And now I sadly want to tell those of you who don't know that the board of directors and I have decided to actually close Drive Smart Colorado permanently, effective December 31st, 2020. We've been around since the mid 1980s and we've had a very good go of it. And I don't want to say that COVID killed us, but it didn't help. If I hadn't have been planning on retiring December 1st, and I announced it last October to my board, you know, we probably could have figured things out because I've learned the tricks of the trade over all of these years. But sadly, the thought of bringing on a new executive director at this moment in time when we really cannot even do the work that we have been doing for 35 years or more, it's just, I think wouldn't be a fair time to bring anybody new on. And we'd rather kind of, I guess this sounds terrible, but go down while we're on top, then watch it sort of fizzle out perhaps over the next year. And so we've told all of our funders and we're not accepting new purchase orders from CDOT and that sort of thing, because that would all start October 1st. So anyway, it is sad. Well, yeah, anyway, so if I talk about it much, I'll probably start crying. So I better not talk about it because I've been doing this for almost 27 years. So I do just want to say that I will be around certainly until November 30th and a little bit past that, just wrapping up things. I also have a lot of older driver guides in English and some and Spanish as well, that if anybody would like a couple boxes to stash in their garage, I can't imagine that anybody else will be printing new ones. So please let me know and I will make sure that we get them to you over the next, few weeks. And so that's my main announcement. Meanwhile, you'll still be seeing me at least at these meetings wonderfully for the next couple months, but I wanted to let you guys know.
On behalf of MCC, we just want to thank you so much for your dedication to the community and your organization. You guys have brought so much. So we're sad to see you go and sad to see Drive Smart go. And if you can't get rid of all the driver manuals prior to closing, if you want to bring them down to FBSC and then I can distribute to all MCC members for you, I'd be happy to do that. We have lots of extra room right now because we're missing seniors. So we can provide some storage for you right now. And if you bring the box down, you can come see the Labradoodle puppy.
I've seen it on somewhere. Where have I seen it? I've seen pictures on Instagram or something. I don't even know where I've seen this adorable puppy. Oh, yeah, so cute. Yeah, that was great coverage. So, okay, thank you very much for that. We'll be in touch. Thanks, Jolene.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I've just been busy getting ready for our 9th annual Night of Comedy virtual live event, October 10th, Saturday night, 6 p.m. And working on silent auction and sponsorships and getting all the content ready. So that's been keeping me busy. No other updates right now.
John, if you can send a flyer about comedy night to Jessica and then she can distribute it to all the MCC members, that would be great.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to. Thanks, Jolene.
Thank you. Kristen?
Let me unmute. I don't have a whole lot on our transportation side. I'm kind of like the liaison, with our grants world and what our programs are doing. I think our programs are starting back up in small groups, following the social guidelines and everything you guys are doing on your buses. One thing that's kind of neat, we have a fleet maintenance department at Goodwill. I don't know if you guys all know that, but we have a new partnership with the city. It was an RFP process where we're going to help them with certain vehicles and DOT inspections. It's kind of a different thing. And so one thing just to remind you guys, if you ever need other estimates on vehicles or anything like that, just free estimates just to get second opinions, or if you want to have us look at your vehicles, we can do that. And we also do DOT inspections if anyone ever needs help with that stuff. So little plug there just in case you didn't know that side of Goodwill. Otherwise, our on-demand transportation is going like normal, and hopefully our programs can start ramping up soon.
I just have to give a shout out really quick to Kristen and Goodwill, specifically Mike and Bob. They're really fantastic. If you guys don't work with them, Mike's the best if you guys need any work done on your vehicles. So, call them.
I'm going to second that because we had a vehicle with them that they could have charged us to fix, and they actually researched and found certain parts were under warranty, took our vehicle to the dealership, got the warranty stuff fixed, and then took it back to Goodwill, and they did their work. So they're not only about the bottom dollar, they really are a community partner, and they can fix wheelchair lifts. Like, let that be known. They can fix wheelchair lifts, which in this community is like the only person that can actually fix it without having to go to coach, and then you lose your vehicle for 7 months. So thank you, Kristen.
Thank you guys for saying that, and thank you, Phil. We love our partnerships with everyone, and yeah, we definitely want to expand and help other fleets, different businesses if you guys have ideas, but obviously we're 100% there for the nonprofits and lifts because we know how hard that can be. And like I said, we can be a little more flexible where we can just do second opinions, estimates, and especially if it's warranty work, we want you to get that free. So thank you guys.
Kristen, do you have any flyers on that program?
Yeah, I've kind of tweaked it over the years. I can send you some. What I've been doing is we're on the west side. We're in Old Colorado City. So when I'm targeting like commercial businesses and stuff, I look a lot at the west side or convenient, but we can try to do our best to sometimes be mobile as well. But yeah, I can send you that for sure.
Awesome.
Okay, Jason?
Yeah, so one update we have, I'm not promoting this initiative, so it's really more just if you hear it through the grapevine that you know what the context is. What it is that we're partnering with the Pikes Peak Library District for some of the seniors that are sheltering in place and not having access to any of the media that the library district normally would have. So what we're doing is we've got a group of 12 individuals just to see if we can figure out that we are able to easily get them the links to the connection to the books and other kind of media that is available through the library. And if this goes well, then we will start to potentially look for other funding to be able to expand that initiative. Again, very small program. I'm not asking you to send your customers to us. I'm just sharing that this is something that we're evaluating, and we'll have more information hopefully in the next month or so, depending on how it goes. And hopefully we'll be able to update that's gone well, and then we'll be able to find some additional funding for the initiative.
Fantastic, Jason. Joe Vaccaro?
Yeah, not much to report on my end. I would say in regard to CASTA, that's one of the finest organizations I've ever worked with. I spent some 15 years working with them. And it's good people to know. They really have a lot of say in the state in regard to getting things done that help specialized transportation. So let's leave you with that recommendation. Otherwise, have a good day.
Thanks, Joe. Diane?
Thank you. I just have a couple of things. In Keller County, we're working with the Keller County Mental Health Alliance, and I'm part of the senior group. So we're doing a lot of work on things that we can do for seniors and to support the seniors in the community. So that's an ongoing effort and really exciting right now. We have been working with Intelliride in regards to the NEMT contract, and we just heard back this week from their lawyer, and they did accept some changes that we requested in the contract. So we're really excited, probably going to be moving forward with that, hopefully soon. We do have barriers that we've put up in our vehicles. We're continuing, of course, all the social distancing and all the requirements for that. We do have seniors that are getting out and about, but our numbers, of course, are still down on that. So that's about it from us.
Thank you, Diane. Bill?
I can't think of anything to add beyond my 20 minutes of rambling already.
It was a fantastic presentation, Phil. Jacob?
Yeah, over here in Mountain Metro, we're seeing increases in ridership both on para and on our fixed route services. Our van pool program is pretty stagnant at the moment. People are mostly working from home, and indications they're not going back until the new year at probably the earliest. So that program has definitely probably been hit hardest of the three in terms of actual ridership. Paratransit, we've seen the day programs coming back, at least in kind of partial force, which has presented some unique challenges because the timing has changed. So we kind of always worked around dropping off 8, 9 or so in the morning, picking up 2, 3 in the afternoon. And we've had to shift because the individuals aren't going there all day. So a lot of half day stuff. So we found some challenges with that, but we've been able to meet that without significant issue. But yeah, we've noticed paratransit's come up a fair bit in the last probably 2 to 3 weeks, I'd say. We've seen it going up a little bit quicker. Fixed route is still seeing small gains and coming back. We brought the Route 33 back about a month ago, and that's been probably one of our heaviest hitters. And just addressing the issues of overcrowding it's been a challenge in and of itself. But in general, we're still seeing lower ridership across the system.
Jacob, what's Route 33 for those of us that don't ride fixed transit?
Yes, the Route 33 is one of our Manitou routes. So it starts at Old Man's Trail in Manitou and goes up to the incline. So the incline reopened, I think, about 6 weeks ago. We came about 2 weeks later after they had opened. 1 or 2 weeks after they opened, we came back on. So it's the incline route. Okay.
And then I had a question on the paratransit, because we're also seeing demand starting to increase. How many, what's the capacity on one of your guys' paratransit buses right now?
So we just shifted it to, sorry. Well, so we have a couple different size vehicles. So to keep it simple, our larger vehicles for paratransit, we're doing up to 3 people. Or up to 3 passengers, not people. So it'll be 4 with the driver. And on our smaller vehicles, we're still doing 2. Little funny story about that. When I was working with Brian on that, him and the contractor down there got out yardsticks, and they were basically putting them across the vehicle to get an idea of how far you are away. And that's how we determined that it was good for those vehicles to go 3 on the larger and to keep it up a max of 2 on the smaller. And I think NEMT, if I'm not mistaken, their guidance has been about 4 or 5 for a vehicle. So it's still reduced on ours, and we're able to keep up with that, and we're hoping to, that we can expand our services with the 3, and then hopefully by the time we look to go more, the coronavirus has died down a bit.
Okay. As you guys do expand on the paratransit buses, can you loop us in so that we can kind of follow your guys' lead? Because sometimes you guys get better information quicker since you're a governmental agency.
What's kind of funny about that is I just had a meeting this morning, and there really is no universal approach that anybody's doing. So we recently got I think it was information from CASTA showing the number of people that they're allowing on buses, and it was all over the place. Through that, we thought that our fixed route was pretty common, what we're looking at least across the board. And our paratransit, we were a little more restrictive compared to other agencies. So even at the 3, we're probably more restrictive than most agencies at that, but we're able to handle the demand at that point. Our bread and butter are the day programs. So when they come back full force, that's where we really have to address. They account for just under half of our trips.
Okay, thank you, Jacob.
Yep, you got it.
And then just some Fountain Valley Senior Center updates. We are seeing an increase in wanting rides. The seniors are starting to go stir crazy and absolutely insane. They won out. We had Elvis Day in our parking lot yesterday, and it was the most well-attended event for our Elvis impersonator, who, by the way, hasn't shaved since COVID started. So Elvis had a gray beard, and those pictures will be on Facebook later. But we're trying to figure out anything, like we started doing friendship visits where we'll pick up 2, 3 seniors max and take them to a public place like a park where they can at least sit and visit with their friends, sitting 6 feet apart. Their definition of 6 feet apart, though, is not maybe my definition of 6 feet apart. So I'm considering buying pool noodles and telling them they at least have to stay a pool noodle away from each other. But they'll probably just like fight like swords. So I don't know that that will work either. Oh, Miley, you're on mute. You're still on mute. Miley, unmute.
I said bad
Okay.
words. That was good that I was on mute. I said they can't hear each other.
I know.
And then they wear masks and it's worse. I mean, my aunt, 90 years old, socially distant, is like, you know, this. So what are you going to do?
You might as well. Yeah. So that's why with the radio now, we've actually purchased like a radio transmitter. So all the bingo and the singing is transmitted over their car radio. So that way the ones that are like deaf as a doorknob can turn it up as loud as possible. We've partnered with Cat Country. They just came out and called bingo. For any of you that are bored tomorrow between 11 to 1, so I'd like to thank Dick. He's not on here. He chaired the meeting for me last month because I drove to Nebraska and back in one day to pick up a Labradoodle puppy. We got a corporate sponsorship to train a therapy dog that will be at the senior center all the time. He's already there all the time, but he's so not trained right now because he's 12 weeks today, so he's crazy. But it's good timing, actually, that seniors aren't there because he has little velociraptor baby teeth right now. So we'll have Emmett there, and we are more than happy to share Emmett with other agencies. So if you guys have events where you want Emmett to come, just give us a call. We'll love to share him with the community. But my staff member that got Emmett, that keeps Emmett like at home, so it's his dog. For those of you that know me well and saw my unicorn hair 2 meetings ago, I love unicorns. And so tomorrow in the parking lot from 11 to 1, we're going to have a real live unicorn. You could look at our Facebook page. It's a real unicorn. It's as real as WWE wrestling. And from 11 to 1. And people will be able to get out of their car, one carload at a time to pet and play with the unicorn. And this way, grandparents that have had contact with their grandkids previously, it's an activity that they can do with their family if they have that previous contact. So we're just trying to figure out fun, goofy ways of getting people out, even if it means just seeing each other through the windows of vehicles. But social isolation's really kicking in. And as the fall kicks in and winter, we're going to see depression and mental health issues skyrocket this winter. So I just really encourage any way you guys can think of getting seniors out in a safe manner and the disabled individuals, it's huge. The only other update that I have, which does go with the Mobility Coordination Committee, is El Paso County is opening a new, like a smaller office in the city of Fountain. So people will be able to apply for like Medicaid, food stamps, COVID assistance. So, you know, we have a very beautiful DHS building here. However, it's up off Garden of the Gods. I'm going to say most low-income people do not live anywhere near Garden of the Gods in the city of Colorado Springs. Most live in the southeastern section of the city. And so it is going to really help with transportation. And we run Fountain Municipal Transit through our offices. And Mountain Metro Transit will also be helping transport people. And so there's going to be some ongoing meetings to just kind of get rid of some of those boundaries. The city of Fountain is super willing to let MMT have some direct routes because we did, we do run one bus up to Garden of the Gods once a week on Fountain Municipal Transit. And it was really nice of MMT to allow FMT to do that, because we did a practice run of somebody in a scooter from the city of Fountain to Garden of the Gods and back, and it took 9 hours. So this will really open up the doors for low-income and disabled populations to access services in a more timely fashion. And I'm also going to say in a way that is more accommodating to them, because if I have to swallow my pride and go apply for food stamps, it's really hard to drive by, you know, multi-million-dollar houses on my way to go ask the government to help me put food on my table for my kiddos. So I think overall, it's a great idea, and it's going to really be a partnership between the county, the city of Colorado Springs, the city of Fountain. Like, it just brings a lot of players into one, and collaboration always equals the best outcome for citizens. So thank you, Jacob and MMT, and I look forward to working with you guys on just making this so much simpler for people in the long run.
I do want to clarify that MMT can't just up and change a route. It requires a full-blown analysis, and we'd have to go through the proper channels. So just want to temper expectations there as we move forward with that, and because it is in the municipal boundaries of Fountain, it does make difficulty on our end. Our paratransit can't directly service it because it's across the border, essentially, and Fountain does have an ADA compliant service, which is why we don't service Fountain. They have their own service. So I think at this time, the best recommendation for those coming from Colorado Springs would be to pick up the Fountain bus service out of the college at PPCC on the south end, because then they could access those directly. Otherwise, we do have a bus stop off of our fixed route that I mapped it out like 2 weeks ago when I first heard of this. And I want to say it's probably about a quarter-mile walk. So it's not a terrible walk, but the area isn't the best for pedestrian traffic, especially if you're going to a medical appointment. So a little questionable there, but we do kind of hit the peripheral of the location. So for those people that can walk and take the regular route, our Route 32 services wide field security and goes relatively close to that location.
Yeah, and I understand that it will take more work to get those routes going, but I hope in the future there's better options than just the PCC transfer or PPCC transfer. And that pedestrian route is not good because you have to cross the train tracks.
Right.
So, but we look forward to that. I think it just serves the underserved community so much better as a whole. So we look forward to helping out. Does anybody else have anything for our next meeting? I do want to thank Laura for reaching out to 211 because they will be presenting next month. And lucky you guys, I have a doctor's appointment this afternoon to schedule to get my tonsils out. So for once in my life, I may not talk for 1 to 4 weeks. You guys should probably throw a party. And so I may have to ask Dick to chair. And if I can't talk, you're going to see me being like, ah! But those are coming out. So wish me luck. I'm terrified. But hopefully they'll get out next week so I can be Chatty Cathy in a month. So I will see you guys all in October, which is crazy that it's October. And I do just want to throw out there, just as a personal thing, the puppy has greatly improved morale in my building. So any of you and your staff, you are welcome to come down or just call us. Like John, if you want us to bring the puppy up to you guys when there's staff in the office, we'll share puppy kisses with the world right now because we can't have contact with a lot of our people and it's depressing for us as staff. So if there's anything we can do to help you, let us know.
Will do. Thanks, Jolene.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Meeting will be at
Good job,
10:34.
Phil. That was great. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Thanks, everybody.